today, now we're talking a lot about Marc Gasol, and Mitch Lawrence had a piece up basically, and he'll be on the morning show tomorrow. He'll be on the starting lineup with Brady and Price to talk about it. But that Gasol, one of the destinations that he could be sent to if he was to be traded would be Toronto on the highest list of teams and potential suitors, along with, I think, Cleveland and Boston. So other good teams. Surprisingly not, the Sacramento Kings do not want Marc Gasol. So it got us talking about whether or not Marc Gasol would be a good fit for the Raptors and whether it would happen. I'll say this first of all. I don't see it happening for two reasons. One is that, okay, if you decide to part ways with a head coach because he's feuding with a player, doesn't that seem like more of an indicator that you'd like to keep that player?
Yes, correct.
I don't really see what, we don't want him to ask for a trade and publicly embarrass us. It's like, well, he's under contract for 2 more seasons. He doesn't have the leverage of like a Paul George where he asks for a trade and it changes what you're going to be able to get back in return. Mm-hmm. He will still have a bunch of suitors if he becomes available, and the price won't change because you're not forced to move off of him. Plus, I mean, I don't know really anything about the guy, but it doesn't seem like the face of the Grizzlies franchise, Marc Gasol, who has made his entire career there, would all of a sudden pull the "I want out of here" stunt.
Yeah, it
seems off-brand for him.
Well, it was surprising to see him get into it at all with a head coach, and it was like kind of veiled comments and nothing like super explicit about Dave Fizdale, but
read between the lines situation.
He was benched in the fourth quarter of their most recent loss, and I wasn't pleased about it. I'm not sure there's a star in the league that would be pleased about getting benched, even if the bench had played well and they'd won the game. So that's only natural.
So the second part of why I don't think it's going to happen is just that I think that Toronto would get outbid by other teams.
Sure.
I think that if you were Memphis and you were deciding to tear it down and rebuild, you'd probably be looking for pick capital. And let's be reminded that Toronto cannot trade their first-round pick this year because it's already gone to the Brooklyn Nets in order to dump Damari Carroll. And they can't trade next year's because there's a rule which doesn't allow you to trade picks in back-to-back seasons in the NBA. So that means the closest pick you can trade is your 2019 draft pick, which that's quite the risky proposition to offer someone considering the history of those types of deals. Like it literally, just to remind you, the Brooklyn Nets trade that everyone hated that franchise for was trading for an aging star and sacrificing future first-round picks. And you know how that can come back to bite you.
Well, and Gasol is 33, or is about to be 33.
Well, he's 33, and you're basically running on this timeline with being a contender with Kyle Lowry, Serge Ibaka, and it would be with Marc Gasol, but there could be potential drop-off significantly for all three of those players at once before 2019, and that draft pick could become something. And I'm guessing that if you lottery protected it, that someone would be willing, be better to outbid you, better suited to outbid you.